our lives the same as you did when you were kids, but we can't let you get away with this anymore. Enough is enough. Enough of you telling us that school shootings are a fact of life when every other country like ours has virtually ended it. Enough of you blaming mental illness and then defunding mental health care in this country. Enough of your thoughts and prayers. Enough. Enough. You will not stop us from advancing the Protecting Our Kids Act today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities. Each and every day, we will do whatever it takes to end gun violence, whatever it takes. What we will do is not fail the children of this country the way that you have failed us, the generations of Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland, and Uvalde. I yield back, Madam Chair.
People ask me all the time, hey Brian, do you really use that keto elevate stuff, and does it really work? The answer is yes and yes. Never in my entire life have I lost body fat so quickly. Not even in my prime at 25, which is over 25 years ago. I'm approaching 54 this year. If you want to support the channel and do your health a favor, grab some with my link in the description. I've got a new design in the store. It's called I am 1,776% sure nobody will be taking my guns. Because they want to take your guns. They want to take them in a big, bad, ugly way. You know how people are constantly going, AR-15? Nobody needs an AR-15. AK-47? Why do you want to have an AK-47? Why do you want to have 30-round magazines with 30 bullets? Are you that bad at deer hunting? Do the deer wear Kevlar? Why do you want an AR-15? You don't need an AR-15. Well, guess what they're saying now? You don't need a handgun. They're saying this in Canada. Remember how we said it's not going to stop with the AR-15. It's not going to stop with the AK-47. And everybody's on pins and needles going, oh my gosh, I wonder what Congress is going to do. McConnell's going to meet with all the Democrats and they're going to hammer out new gun legislation that's going to take away our freedoms. Well, the fact that people are sitting there worrying about this should show you that that's probably something that needs to be eliminated from society. We need to stop worrying about that. Are you going to tell me every year, every 2 years, every mass shooting, every catastrophe that happens with an AK-47 or some kind of firearm, we're going to be on pins and needles wondering if our government's going to take our rights away? They didn't give them to you, and they can't take them away from you. The problem at this point is not government. It's not the psychopaths in the Democrat side or the Republican side. It's us who keep voting for the Democrats and Republicans. I don't care what party you're voting for. You're voting for the chains of your own oppression. You're putting somebody in office who will be bought out, who will be enslaved, who will be purchased at the highest bidder from the IMF lobby, and they're going to go against your better interest. They're going to go against your rights. They're going to reach their hands deeper into your pockets and take more of your product of your time and laboring energies. That's what they do. That's what politicians are. While they pretend to be about something other than power and profit, they're there to gain more of each. Canada plans to ban purchase, sale of handguns. We're going to ban it, and that's it. We are going to criminalize anybody. You want to buy, you want to sell, you want to transport, you want to transfer? No way. Not going to do it, Grandpa. You can't give that handgun, that family heirloom, to that grandson. No way. Not going to happen. Justin Fidel Castro Trudeau says there is no reason anyone in Canada should need guns in their daily lives. Oh, does that mean your security detail is going to... They don't have a reason either, Justin Fidel Castro Trudeau? You're going to tell your security detail to disarm? I don't think so. They're saying there's no reason any of you should have a gun. Don't worry. The government is here to protect you. We promise. Let me show you what that looks like. A little bit of humor here, but this is what gun control and gun regulation looks like in a nutshell.
I'll hold on to for safekeeping. Why?
Well, because I'm the most responsible person.
Guys, I don't think any of us should have a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of us does, so... The end.
And that is what every gun owner should say. There's no argument. And don't raise the price on ammunition. Don't put restrictions on firearms manufacturers. Don't get in my way of getting whatever personal protection device that I want. Period. You ain't going to do it. We have a Second Amendment. We have a natural right to protect ourselves by any means necessary. End of story. I don't care what go ahead. What if we just sat there and we write whatever you want to on fancy pieces of paper. Make it as verbose as you want to. Make it 5,000, 10,000 pages where nobody can read it. It doesn't matter. We're not paying for it, and we're not going to submit to it. Why is it throughout the course of human history, anybody who submits to any kind of gun ban ends up not living very long? Let's watch this again.
I'll hold on to for safekeeping.
Why?
Well, because I'm the most responsible person.
Guys, I don't think any of us should have a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of us does, so... The end.
Exactly. The end. Period. End of story. Conversation never started. You want to have a conversation? Fine. You want to write bills that become laws? Fine. We're not obeying them. We will resist. Why? Because when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So when you have a psychopath, a literal psychopath, like this guy come along saying, nobody needs guns. There is no reason. No reason? Where are you, journalists? Why don't you engage in just a little bit of journalism and walk up to this guy and say, hey, let me just quote you. You said there's no reason anyone in Canada should need guns in their everyday lives. Why are you surrounded by guns? Why is this facility that we're in surrounded by guns? Why is it when I had to walk in here, they disarmed me while all the guards are armed? Why is that? Canada said on Monday that it is introducing some of the toughest gun control measures in decades, including a ban on the purchase, sale, and transfer of handguns in response to concerns about violent crime. Oh, yeah. The most violent criminals in government are concerned about violent crime. And so what's their remedy? Well, we obviously have to disarm you. Because we're not going to disarm. Why would we disarm ourselves? We use guns to protect ourselves. Therefore, we're going to take guns away from you so you can't protect yourself. So if you need anything, just give us a call. Don't worry, we'll be there late. Canada will compel owners of banned semi-automatic firearms, that includes handguns, to sell their weapons to the government. Weapons that they didn't even buy in the first place. Weapons that these owners didn't get from the government, but the government's going to go, we'll do a buyback. You remember, I can't remember the exact number, but Australia confiscated over 650,000 weapons, and it cost Australia, the taxpayers, $500 million. It was like $500 million. And they took all those guns, or at least the ones that they showed us. They probably kept a lot of them for themselves. And then they just crushed them. They got this big magnet, picked them up, got into a little conveyor belt. They crushed them all. Such a waste. And now I've got Australians are constantly contacting me. People in the UK are constantly contacting me and saying, do not give up your guns. Whatever you do, don't give them up. Crime is horrible over here. Overall crime has skyrocketed. Why? Because criminals know that the people, for the most part, are disarmed. For their convenience and for their safety. The safety of and convenience of the criminals, that is. The proposed bill introduced in Canada's parliament would allow courts to order gun owners to order them to surrender their weapons should a judge believe they pose a danger to themselves or the others. Hey, judge, does this guy who has these guns that we don't want them to have, does he pose a danger to himself and others? Oh, yeah, of course he does. Here's the warrant. Go break into his house and steal his firearms. And if he resists you, go ahead and shoot him on sight. That's the criminal cartel that's against us, guys. And allow authorities to take away, that's steal. It's called theft. Firearms licenses so that they can steal firearms for those involved in acts of domestic violence and stalking. Oh, you mean like most law enforcement officers? It doesn't matter what law enforcement agency you're talking about in America or the UK or Australia or New Zealand, they're 40% more likely than the regular non-military, non-police force public to be domestic abusers. But I bet they don't get their licenses revoked, their handgun licenses. Because birds of a feather stick together. A suite of new restrictions comes less than a week after the 19 students in Uvalde, Texas. We all know the story on that. The new proposed gun control legislation, that's people control. The new proposed people control regulations. We weren't regulating people enough. We weren't controlling them enough. The chains weren't tight enough around their necks. We have to have new people control regulations. Is likely to pass through Parliament as the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Fidel Castro Trudeau has a formal deal with a smaller left-wing party to support government legislation and prop up this administration until mid-2025. In Washington, D.C., leaders of the Democratic and Republican parties have expressed support for talks over new gun policies. Oh, look, they didn't call it gun control. It's gun policies. Gun safety regulations. You want gun safety regulations, don't you? So that the people can be safe. And if you don't want it, you must be evil. Gun policies is the same euphemism as gun control. It's people control. It's the government doesn't have enough power and control over the people. But any proposed measure would face tough odds given the stark divide between the two parties over gun control. I'm sick of hearing people say, God, I hope we have more Republicans next time so we can keep our gun rights. I hope we win. I hope they lose. And the Democrats are going, I hope Team Blue wins. This is great. Oh man, we're going to get everything that we want. Everybody's just being evil. They're standing behind their political parasite thinking that that's the guy who's going to be their champion. And there's no morality to it. None at all. It's completely immoral. Here's Trudeau again. Other than using firearms for sports shooting and hunting, how about protecting government officials? You kind of left that out, Justin. There's no reason anyone in Canada should need guns in their everyday lives, Trudeau said at a press conference. We cannot let the gun debate become so polarized that nothing gets done. We must get something done. Translation, we must take guns away from people who aren't government so that the government can be more powerful than the people, because that always goes good for the people, right? Amazing that lemmings will stand in line and go, please take our personal protection devices. We can't be trusted with them, but we trust you with them, government. We trust you an awful lot. Oh boy, history doesn't record that you slaughter masses of people in national genocides or anything. It just gets under your skin, man. It's like, ugh. We cannot let the gun debate become so polarized that nothing gets done. We cannot let that happen to our country. We must be in control and have all the power. While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are going to think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up. Man, this stuff's so good. People are going to think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love. Well, if Granny does stop by, she's going to fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.